The opinions and views expressed by individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of this network, their group, or other organization they may be involved with.
I'm looking at myself, reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairyland of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty of Tuesday evening news. Tuesday evening
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Psychedelic Reporters for this Tuesday, the September 17th episode. I forgot. Here on NOK Network, the video news podcast focused on psychedelic medicine being reported in mainstream media. Shout out to the guys in Dead Ringer from Kirkland Lake, Ontario for the awesome intro track, originally recorded by the Moody Blues with some customized changes for our show. I am joined by my amazing joint host, Tarra Simpson, along with the one and only Bufo Alverius, who has chosen all of our stories for us. Hello, Tarra.
Well, hello, hobbies, and hello, everyone. I'd like to take a minute to introduce Bufo. He is our Sonoran desert toad or Colorado mud toad. Did you know he emits DMT from his skin? And while that sounds like great fun, park rangers would like to remind everyone, please don't lick that toad.
I don't like the toad. You do like the mushrooms, but be careful. Have a mushroom identifier. Be safe when you're eating natural medicine.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be running around licking random toads and hoping I'm getting the right dose. You know,
Right.
Setting is probably best. But yes, DMT is one of the many psychedelic modalities that we talk about here on Psychedelic Reporters.
And with dosages and bringing psychedelics to the public, you got to be careful. Lots of red tape, lots of stuff, lots of whatnot. And that brings us to our first article. Our first article from Mugglehead Magazine. And this is Magic Mushroom CEO arrested for fraud while attempting to fly away. Police apprehended him as he tried to leave Virginia on a one-way flight to Tasmania by Rowan Duane.
Wow, this article really caught my attention. I was like, what in the hell is happening? The chief executive officer of a questionable psilocybin mushroom company, Julius Genge, was arrested for allegedly bamboozling investors late last month. Police apprehended him at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport in Virginia on August 22nd while attempting to flee to Tanzania. His arrest was linked to a U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission investigation into allegations of security fraud and reporting false information. If convicted, he faces up to 20 years in prison. The dubious company in question, Minor Co. Inc., has a troubled history for the past few years. Shares of Minor Co. were formerly traded on the OTC markets under the ticker symbol MINE, but following an SEC suspension in 2021, they have not been relisted and remain worthless. Moreover, Jen's involvement with an individual who has a criminal record and who pulled the strings for their alleged fraud scheme is another aspect of the investigation.
Jens allegedly concealed the involvement of a co-schemer who had a criminal history and controlled all aspects of Minor Co's operations, the U.S. Department of Justice said in a statement. Among other things, Jens allegedly failed to disclose his co-schemer's involvement of Minor Co in public filings, although he was required to do so. Following Jensen's unnamed co-schemer taking over the Form of Beverages company in 2019, they brought up 1 billion shares. Then they released a series of false misleading news releases in 2020 and 2021 to help inflate the share price. The stock hit peak price of 16 cents in February 21st, and an ensuing sale of enabled Hen's partner in crime to line his pockets with $8.4 billion. Or million, my bad, million. That's still a whole lot. Oh my gosh.
I know, crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jens was supposedly paid $26,000 for his role in the purported pump and dump scheme. That's crazy. Jens gets released on US $100,000 bond under house arrest. Wow. His legal representation was able to provide the judge with information validating that Jens allegedly had legitimate reasons for traveling to Africa, attending a funeral. Jens was then released and placed under house arrest at his girlfriend's residence in Maryland. He is subject to GPS monitoring and a $100,000 unsecured bond. This essentially means that if he fails to appear at future hearings or violates any other conditions, he may be required to pay that entire sum. In addition to having an arrest warrant, that is, if you somehow make it to Tanzania, you better plan on living there for the rest of your life, Judge Michael Harvey told Jens on August 27th. Harvey suspects that Jens may still try to flee the United States.
Jens was, where are we? Here we are. Jens was set to appear in a disposition regarding an investigation into Micro by the SEC about a week after he was arrested. Lies that he and his partner in crime are accused of using to drive up Minor Co's stock price, including saying that the company had been acquired by a specialized research firm and that it had been exported psilocybin to Mitosine Innovations Group Incorporated. Mitosine denied that this ever happened. Jens also apparently lied about holding an MBA and marketing of a Bachelor of Arts degree in accounting. The Mushroom CAO claims that he didn't know about his accomplice's criminal past. Oh, wow. That the press releases were true, that he didn't make any money from the fraudulent stock trading. Oh my gosh, man. What a con man.
Yeah, that's crazy, eh? But you're going to see some of that happen in the industry because everyone's on that, crowdfunding and, trying to make money on psilocybin, and not everyone is legit, right?
Unfortunately, okay. So a lot of companies, it's something new. A lot of people that are good at it don't have all the educational thing. If they do it and they're honest about it, you're not really conning people. It's something you're good at doing, and now you're learning the industry part.
Yeah, it
Like,
doesn't sound like they did much industry stuff. It
no,
sounds like put a bunch of
it was like,
took
yeah, it
everyone's
was
money.
basically, yeah, Connie just swindled a motherfucker out of his hard-earned money, man.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you can get that in any industry, right? Whether it's psilocybin, cannabis, or any other company stock, anyone can get on the stock market somehow and fuck around, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Yeah.
on a serious note with psychedelics, I mean, but this is what screws it up, and people are there's gonna be strict regulations, investors. I mean, it's just gonna make everybody gun shy. $8.4 million is a lot of a lesson.
Absolutely. And it gives a bad name to the industry.
Hmm. Now, what's given a good name to the industry is on our next report, the sportrush.com. And this is 3 NFL athletes, including Aaron Rodgers, who embraced the healing of power of psychedelics. And this is written by Sneha Singh. Oh man, he's again Aaron Rodgers, and I love it, man. This is why I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan.
Yeah, I'm not a sports buff. I really couldn't tell you who Aaron Rodgers is, but I mean, obviously he's a big NFL star. So it's great to see that, these people are coming out and speaking out because they're big names and people listen
Hmm.
to people in big roles. Um, so this article goes on, it's not just hard work and skill that's one of the biggest NFL stars attributes his success attributes his success to. Aaron Rodgers is an ardent advocate of psychedelics and has been candid about his healing journey with ayahuasca. Apart from A-Rod, multiple athletes have opened up about their experience with the South American brew, which is believed to help with a number of mental health issues. Roger had his first tryst with psychedelics back in 2020 in Peru on the recommendation of his friend. As per USA Today, he credited his back to back MVP titles to the experience and tried it again in 2022. The Super Bowl champion has since made it clear that he doesn't support the use of the word drug, preferring instead to refer to ayahuasca as plant medicine. In a previous interview, Rogers said the most important way was really that self love part, referring to how the experience helped him become less crucial of himself. He further added, I was very self crucial. When you have so much judgment on yourself, it is easy to transfer that judgment to other people. When you figure out a better way to love yourself, I think you can love people better because you're not casting the same judgment you cast on yourself onto other people. I'm really thankful for that. Wow, that's pretty powerful.
It is, it is. A-Rod also shared how multiple other athletes from the NFL showed their interest in ayahuasca, and have positive stories to tell about it as well. For instance, a former NFL star who opened about his experience with psychedelics is the former Saints wide receiver Kenny Still. Having dipped his toes into a wide variety of drugs, including cannabis, ecstasy, LSD in his youth, Stills hasn't been shy of crediting his mental health journey to substances. He tried ketamine in 2022, which he described as a very intense experience for his mind and body, as per the Inside Hook. Ketamine separates you from you. In a sense, you'll find yourself wondering if you're still in the same room or in the same dimension. The very first time I had a visual experience with it, I feel like I was on the other side, however you want to think about it. Stills continued. Um, so he really, really felt like I wasn't here, wasn't on Earth. Psychedelics affect us all differently because our brain chemistry, I have known how they can help me for 5 or 6 years now, still continues. The former wide receiver who's been active in the support of social issues feels his duty as human beings to share his learnings with people. Stills has also shared how developed more empathy and joy after trying the substances, that he was able to break some detrimental patterns that were passed on to him from his parents and the generations before. Oh man.
Yeah, that's crazy, eh?
I want to go talk to Stills while I'm down here on vacation now.
Yeah. Carrie Rhodes' experience with ayahuasca, however, was quite different and tumultuous. On the first day, the former jet safely hallucinated throwing up a fetus. Oh, gross. Um, which his shaman reassured was a good thing, as he relayed to the Guardian. The fetus returned in the next day's vomiting as well, which led to a self-realization for the athlete. There's a quote here: "I go in and I connect with it. Cut to, I wake up and I'm the baby in the crib and I'm looking out and I'm crying. And at that moment, nobody picked me up." Wow. And I
felt it in my heart.
Yeah. And I had a moment, half in the hallucination, half in the treatment room, where I was like, oh shit, I don't need anyone to pick me up. And I put my thumb in my mouth and I stopped crying and I realized I didn't need anyone. The thumb grew and it killed that moment. It killed that need, Rhodes further added. This learning Rhodes carried with him, which has helped him after his playing days were over. In his own words, once your career is done, it's done. And for many of us, it can be a real struggle to come to terms with that, followed by there are other things we can do. We have other talents we can contribute to the world. We're not just robots. While psychedelics remain a polarizing subject for many, Aaron Rodgers, Kenny Stills, and Carrie Rhodes attribute some integral life lessons to trying plant medicine, as A-Rod's so lovingly put it. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I really like that. And you know, for all the healing that's going on that psychedelics are doing, and everybody's coming forward with their experiences. He's been in the news articles many times, Mr. Rogers, about making life decisions and being ridiculed for saying he did it on ayahuasca, and he didn't give a fuck. And that brings us to our third article of why the Commonwealth Beacon.org is bringing us to putting it on the ballot.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Question 4 is one solution to mental health crisis. Massachusetts could be East Coast gateway for psychedelic-assisted therapy by Lindsay Sabadosa and Jamie Elleridge.
Yeah, so here in Massachusetts, we have a real opportunity to kickstart the first natural psychedelic-assisted therapy services on the East Coast by approving ballot question number 4 in the fall. Similar to the ballot question that passed in Oregon and Colorado, this initiative aims to establish regulated therapeutic framework for natural psychedelic assisted therapy in Massachusetts. Our mental health crisis is in dire need of solutions. Overdose deaths from substance abuse are shockingly high, and millions of Americans are debilitated by post-traumatic stress disorder without effective treatment options. Natural psychedelics provide a promising, necessary, and research-backed opportunity for healing where traditional therapies have fallen short. We can all get behind treatments to alleviate these profound problems, and in Massachusetts, we can create access to life-saving healthcare by voting yes on ballot question 4. Current mental health treatment options such as cognitive processing therapy, exposure therapy, and eye movement desensitization and reprocessing have been beneficial for patients. However, many continue to be debilitated by symptoms following treatments. A 2021 study on the effectiveness of treatments for military veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder found that 2/3 of participants still fit the diagnostic criteria for post-traumatic stress disorder following treatment. Even a third of participants who were classified as in remission following treatment continued to experience post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. After exhausting traditional treatment options and without access to psychedelic therapy, many patients have nowhere to turn, leading to an increased sense of hopelessness and desperation.
Within the past 5 years, psychedelics-assisted therapy has gained momentum as a source for relief for Americans suffering with extreme mental health challenges, such as PTSD, severe anxiety, major depression, and substance abuse disorder. Studies conducted by leading institutions such as Johns Hopkins, New York University, and Dana-Farber Cancer Center demonstrate the efficacy. I need to learn how to say that word. The efficacy of psilocybin in mental health treatment, particularly for alcohol abuse, major depression, and severe anxiety. Empirical research alongside the anecdotal evidence from individuals who have found relief through psychedelics speaks for itself. We have the responsibility to alleviate suffering in this country, and the research shows we have that ability. We must reduce the barriers to psychedelic treatment in order to maximize healing. Following the Food and Drug Administration's designation of psilocybin as a breakthrough therapy for severe depression, Oregon and Colorado have gotten the ball rolling with psychedelic-related legislation in the U.S. Their ballot referenda decriminalized and created access to certain natural psychedelic therapies, passing in 2020 in Oregon and 2022 in Colorado. After 2.5 years drafting rules and regulations for psilocybin therapy programs, Oregon's facilitation centers opened in June 2023. Since then, over 3,500 clients have served in the state. 27 licensed service centers have been operated. Wow, man, this is cool.
That is very cool. Though it's still in process of drafting regulations for its program, Colorado's ballot measure will remove criminal penalties for limited personal use of natural psychedelics and create a regulated natural medicine access program for licensing health centers to administer natural medicine services. The program is estimated to launch in 2025. More recently, in March of 2024, Utah's legislators unanimously approved a Republican-led Senate bill establishing a pilot program for psilocybin and MDMA, also known as ecstasy, treatment options at 2 facilities, the University of Utah and Intermountain Health. The program took effect on May 1st and is set to end in 3 years, collecting data all the while to inform future programs. The enthusiasm from Utah's legislature in a large Republican state, in contrast to the main demographic legislatures in Colorado and Oregon, speaks to the bipartisan support that psychedelic assisted therapy garners. Beyond the recent action in Oregon, Colorado, and Utah, psychedelic-related legislation is gaining momentum on a national scale. Legislators throughout the country have unified in an effort to create access to psychedelic-assisted therapy for Americans. Currently, there are 29 states that either have active legislation or already passed psychedelic-related legislation. Pending and approval bills range from supporting psychedelic research to establishing advisory groups to decriminalization to legalization for therapeutic treatments, with varying degrees of legislative support. Americans have expressed widespread interest and enthusiasm for psychedelic-assisted therapy access. Mental illness knows no boundaries when it comes to geographic location, political party, or socioeconomic status. Since this COVID-19 pandemic began in 2020, there has been a reported 38% increase in mental health care patients in the country. People with serious mental illness, such as anxiety disorders, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder, have a shocking 20 to 25-year reduction in life expectancy. They are clearly not receiving sufficient life-saving care to support their recovery. Over 6,000 veterans commit suicide every year. 107,941 drug overdose deaths occurred in 2022, and a 32.3% of U.S. adults have anxiety or depression symptoms. There's an urgent need for more therapeutic interventions in the U.S., and psychedelic-assisted therapy is a powerful tool to add to the arsenal when traditional forms of treatment have proven ineffective. Yes, on question 4, this November is the crucial next step for addressing the mental health crisis in Massachusetts. Wow, that was an awesome article.
That was an awesome article, and I was quite impressed with it. You can't. What can I say? You can't get enough of more states putting stuff onto the ballot so you could do therapeutic services in a legal way so nobody gets their dick kicked in.
Right. We know that these traditional treatments are failing people. They might be somewhat beneficial in some ways, but they're not healing people. They're maybe masking some of their symptoms or not doing much at all in the way of curing them, as it's shown, right? So why not push this and see what happens? I mean, we're not doing more harm. We know that. We've seen in many other articles that these things can actually help people that nothing else has helped. So I like to see that it's on a ballot now, because now it's up to the people. It's not just up to the government. And that's what makes it important, is that the government, once they get all those yeses back, really are backed into a corner. So fingers crossed that their vote goes well.
Right. Fingers crossed. And it is election year. And that brings us to a medication time!
Yay, that's right. It's time to pay some bills. So stay tuned for a word from some of our sponsors, and then we'll return with more articles Bufo has chosen, making mainstream media news.
Back in 4 minutes and 20 seconds here on Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network. Woo!
Tune in daily to NOK Network's diverse podcasting lineup. Ganja News Update, Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Tarra Simpson and Ron McNabb. Waking Up with the Waniac, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific with Wayne Cruz from sunny California. Grow 420, Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern with Ron McNabb. Psychedelic Reporters, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Hobbies Puppets and Tarra Simpson. Peace, News, and Views, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Sir Stevo and Kim Cooper. Thursdays we have Open Your Eye with Kim Cooper and Tarra Simpson, 8 p.m. Eastern. Followed by Thursday Night Vibes at 9:15 p.m. Eastern with Master and Mama Rochi. The IWK 710 Daily Sesh airs 7 nights a week with our rotating joint hosts nightly at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for tuning in to all the podcasting on NOK Network.
Are you a Northern Ontario resident searching for credible information on cannabis as a medicine? No Sir is here to help. Established in 2013, Northern Ontario Cannabis Education and Resources is here for you. NOSER Director Kim Cooper brings you 45 plus years experience utilizing cannabis as a medicine, and she is spreading that education across the North. activism, referrals, resources, and more at No Sir. Don't be a jackass. Say no, sir, to propaganda with No Sir. Find them at www.nocer.ca.
Are you frantically pounding away on your keyboard these days? To discuss your views, share your passions, teach a skill, or share a craft to the masses on social media. Podcasting is a bright light that can help you reach a diverse audience. And the NOK Network can help. Even if you have no experience, NOK Network will work with you to develop your content to air on our diverse network to reach a wide audience, allowing us to grow together. Podcasts are aired on multiple platforms simultaneously across social media and streaming sites live through our network. Contact us and let's chat about how we can help you develop your podcast and join the NOK team.
Hey, hi, my name is John Mark, aka Sublimator Warrior, and I would like to welcome you to Smoke Signal in Tyendinaga.
One dab make your whole dome drip sweat. One dab make the homies all dip set.
Smoke Signals, Tyendinaga.
Smoke Signals, Tyendinaga.
Smoke Signals, Tyendinaga.
Ooey, ooey, gooey, that's a sticky dab. Might just have to put this one on Instagram.
Smoke Signals, Tyendinaga.
Hold it in, feel it in your wrist.
Smoke Signals, Tyendinaga.
Check us out in Tyendinaga. 55 Highway 49 in Tyendinaga. It's on the res, and we're open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week.
Now we get back to the show.
And we're back from our medication session live on Psychedelic Reporters here on NOK Network.
And we have another set of stories coming at you from the realm of psychedelic medicine. So let's get at it. Oh, man. So Massachusetts was talking about bringing it on the vote. However, not everybody wants mushrooms in their state or city. So that brings us to the OPD.org. OPD.org says more than a dozen cities will ask their voters if they want to ban psilocybin. And this is by Lauren Drake.
Yeah, Oregon was the first state in the nation to legalize the use of psilocybin, often called magic mushrooms, and state officials hope to serve as a nationwide model for others to follow. But they're having a hard time convincing some in their backyard. 16 cities spanning the state and unincorporated areas of Clackamas County are asking voters this November whether they should put some kind of ban, either permanent or temporary, on the use of the naturally occurring psychedelic within their jurisdiction. Wow, that's brutal. In 2020, Oregon voters legalized the use of psilocybin through Measure 109. The state spent a couple of years building the program, and in 2023, the Oregon Health Authority issued the first licenses for growing, testing, and administering the drug. Now there are 31 licensed service centers where people can go to access the mushrooms, and more than 350 trained staff to provide guided psychedelic experiences. Heidi Pendergast with the nonprofit Healing Advocacy Fund called it quite a revolution. The vast majority of these clients are really coming for mental health purposes, whether it's anxiety, depression, or substance use. and they are seeing a renewed sense of hope, she said. They are really able to jumpstart their mental health journey in a new and different way. Sheridan was one of more than a dozen cities that voted to opt out of participating in the psilocybin program in a local measure in 2022. It was a temporary 2-year moratorium. Cale George, the city's mayor, said he thought it made sense to go back to the voters and ask whether they wanted to make the ban permanent. Oh my God.
Right, Sheridan City councilors voted in favor of putting it on the ballot, partly because there was still a lot of uncertainty swirling around something so new, George said. He also noted that the city has a high population of veterans, and at least one city councilor noted how the programs could help people who served in the military. The Department of Veteran Affairs is in the midst of examining the use of MDMA, also known as ecstasy and psilocybin, to help veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. I think we let the voters vote on it. We make sense to give them a chance to vote again, George said. Lori Longfellow, city manager with the city of Nehalem, echoed Sheridan officials' concern, saying there are simply too many unknowns. City of Nehalem officials are asking voters whether they would like to extend their 2-year moratorium for another 2 years. Longfellow said city officials want to see the state finish in its rulemaking process, and the terms have more solidified before the city would allow veteran centers. State officials said they had the rules finalized since December 2022, but they did say they would like to be refined and updated continually. Wow.
Wow, eh? Other cities hoping to prohibit psilocybin include the cities of Estacada, Lake Oswego, Warrington, Seaside, Redmond, Sutherland, Rogue River, Lebanon, Mount Angel, Jefferson, Hubbard, and Amity? I don't know. The move to ban psilocybin is not all that dissimilar to what played out with cannabis. Oregon voters legalized cannabis sales in 2014 when they passed Measure 91. Dozens of rural communities and cities, however, banned the drug from being sold. Angela Albee, who manages the Oregon Psilocybin Service section for the Oregon Health Authority, said that the state has been thoughtful and intentional about rolling out the program and has already safely served many Oregonians. The state is working on a data dashboard that will provide more transparency on the program, such as how many people have been served, any adverse medical or behavioral reactions, or any compliance issues. Albee said the program is working as they had hoped overall. It's unfortunate people are doing permanent bans. While we understand they have the ability to do that, I think there are a lot of people that could have been served under this regulated model that will be incentivized to access psilocybin illegally and not have the support and safety. And that's true, right? They're going to get it one way or another. It happens every day in every modality. Whether it be hard drugs, I mean, they're illegal, but people still access them, right? So it makes sense to allow them to do it safely and regulated, to make sure that, things are okay, and they're not harming anyone.
Well, and that's just it. As politicians come and go, laws are going to change for and pro and con throughout. And it's this is going to be one of those things that can't change due to legislation and who's in the government and whatnot. And I mean, this is once you legalize it, and then you reclose it for other cities and other. I mean, what if the next batch of politicians after them or citizens want the mushrooms, but now it's voted out of the fucking city?
Right, right. And I mean, how can they make, I get it's kind of like what happens here in Canada, right? It's legal on a federal level, but then all the municipalities and individual provinces can make their own rules about it. Well, federal law has always trumped municipal or, even provincial law, but they're allowed to make their own rules. And that seems to be the same way in the States, right? The whole state has decriminalized it, but then all the little like areas can make their own rules. And that it shouldn't be like that. This is medicine. People are using it for medical purposes. They're not going to these service centers, taking it and running out the door and going to a party. Like,
right. I agree. Yeah. And I mean, and in fact, the more we learn about it, the more we know it heals, the more it's beneficial. And that brings on to our next article. Our next article is from thebazinga.com. LSD, MDMA, and D-amphetamine study provides new insight into the neurobiological effects. And this is by Juan Spinelli.
Yeah, so it starts here. A new study is shedding light on the complex brain connectivity changes induced by 3 psychoactive substances, LSD, MDMA, and D-amphetamine. These compounds, while distinct in their classification, psychedelic and anatogen and stimulant, respectively, share overlapping effects on neurotransmitter systems, influencing large-scale brain connectivity in unique ways. The study, which analyzed data from 25 healthy volunteers, used a placebo-controlled, double-blind crossover design to compare the effects of these substances on brain function. The data revealed both shared and unique patterns of brain connectivity, offering critical insights into their neurobiological mechanisms.
Wow. LSD distinctive brain connectivity impact. LSD, known for its profound impact on perception and consciousness, demonstrated a striking reduction within network connectivity within the default mode network, brain region associated with self-referential thinking and introspection. The effect was consistent with prior research suggesting that psychedelics diminish the DMN's growth, facilitating experiences of ego dissolution. LSD's most extensive alterations were observed in between network connectivity within the specific changes linked to area dense and 5H22A receptors. These findings reinforce the crucial role of the serotonin receptor in LSD's effects, particularly its modulation of large brain networks. Surprising results from MDMA and D-amphetamine. Sarah, do you want to let us know about that?
Absolutely. Stupid pop-ups on my phone. Contrary to expectations, both MDMA and D-amphetamine produced a more profound change in connectivity than LSD. Despite being categorized as an atypical psychedelic, MDMA showed brain connectivity patterns more aligned with D-amphetamine, emphasizing their structural and pharmacological similarities, particularly in their effects on the norepinephrine system, which could help to mobilize the brain and body for action. Interestingly, all three substances led to a reduced connectivity within the visual network, the D-amphetamine having the most significant impact. This finding suggests a shared dopaminergic influence across the substances, though each demonstrated distinct connectivity changes elsewhere in the brain. Wow, that's cool. The bigger picture, hang on, these stupid pop-ups, man, I tell you.
These results offer valuable insights into the neuropharmacological complexity of these substances and their overlapping but distinct effects on brain connectivity. LSD's unique profile highlights its potential for targeting specific brain networks, particularly those related to interoperceptive processes. Meanwhile, similarities between MDMA and D-amphetamine offer clues into how stimulants and actagons may operate through shared neural pathways. The study's findings have important implications for potential therapeutic uses of psychedelics and stimulants, particularly in treating mental health conditions such as depression, substance use disorders, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Understanding how these substances affect brain connectivity can help refine future treatment protocols and contribute to developing more target intervention. Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Future directions. Well, the study provides a crucial foundation for understanding the effects of these psychoactive compounds. Future research with larger data sets could offer more more nuanced insights. Expanding this work to include other psychoactive substances such as psilocybin and mescaline could further illuminate the neurological underpinnings of psychedelics. Additionally, research into clinical populations will be essential to determine how connectivity changes translate to therapeutic outcomes for individuals with mental health conditions. Wow, that was a cool article.
It is, and it covers not just one psychedelic, but quite a few of them. The ones that have been in the news, people have been going through, wanting treatment. Now let's get some answers.
Right. And I mean, all this research is being done, and it's proving to be beneficial. So why are we dragging our heels, folks? Let's bring it on.
And it's not just one place. It's internationally, and that brings us to our last article, EurekaAlert.org. In this story, the feature story, Dr. Katrina Liao, pioneering psychedelic research for tinnitus and anxiety retreatment. Brazilian neuroscientist explores unconventional therapies in exclusive genomic press interview for an auditory and limbic system. And this is credit Katrina Liao.
Wow, this is really cool because there's a lot of people who suffer from tinnitus, which is that ringing in the ears that drives people crazy. And there's nothing you can do about it, apparently. So this is very cool that she's doing some research. And this is coming to us, looks like she's in Brazil. Natal, Rio Grande do Norte, Brazil. From small town Sweden to tropical Brazil, Dr. Katrina Liao's journey in neuroscience in a captivating genomic press interview published in Psychedelics. Dr. Katrina Liao, associate professor at the Brain Institute of the Federal University of Rio Grande do Norte, Brazil, shares her remarkable journey from a small Swedish steel town to becoming a leading researcher in auditory neuroscience and unconventional treatments for tinnitus. Dr. Liao's passion for neuroscience was ignited during her time at the Australian National Institute. In this In this dynamic and very social research environment, I fell in love with neuroscience and specifically ion channels and action potentials, she recalls. The serendipitous exposure to world-class neuroscience research set the stage for her future career. How might such a chance encounter in science shape the future of research and innovation? Throughout her career, Dr. Lau has embraced diverse research environments, from studying brainstem neurons in deaf mice to investigating spinal cord circuits in Sweden. Her current focus on noise-induced tinnitus without hearing loss represents a significant shift in the field. I strive to increase the level of detail in this field by identifying variations in subtypes of neurons, specifically ion channels, channel perturbations, and alterations of genes in specific areas. Dr. Lau explains this multifaceted approach raises intriguing questions. How might understanding these integral neural mechanisms lead to breakthrough treatments for tinnitus and related anxiety disorders?
Dr. Lau's research uniquely bridges the auditory and linguistic systems, exploring the impact of loud noise on both cortical neurons and hippocampal circuits. Her team is investigating unconventional treatment options, including psychedelics and cannabis extracts. This bold approach prompts us to consider, could these alternative therapies revolutionize our understanding and treatment of neurological disorders beyond tinnitus? The interview also sheds light on Dr. Lau's commitment to fostering a collaborative and inclusive research environment. We have weekly journal clubs taking turn presenting current topics, using the journal club to collectively tackle methodologically complex papers she shares. This emphasis on collective learning and multilingual communication, she speaks mostly English in the lab, raises an important question. How can such practices enhance the global scientific community's ability to address complex neurological challenge? Dr. Lau's journey from a non-academic background to a senior position in Brazil inspiring, and she reflects to have job stability in the industry usually provided being able to do basic research on my terms for paying for lab space. It's a dream come true, actually more than I had dared to hope a young female PhD student. Her success story prompts us to ask, how can scientific community create more opportunities for researchers from diverse backgrounds to pursue groundbreaking work? Wow. Huh.
Yeah. Where did we leave off here?
The interview.
Oh, shit. I lost it again.
Interview also touches.
Okay. The interview also touches on Dr. Lau's perspectives on women in science and cultural diversity. She advocates for mentoring women into leading positions and increasing cultural diversity at grassroots levels. This raises a crucial question. What systematic changes are needed in the scientific community to ensure equal opportunities and representation? Dr. Lau's work exemplifies the potential of cross-disciplinary approaches in neuroscience by applying her diverse background to the study of tinnitus and related anxieties. She is opening new frontiers into treatment possibilities. Her research not only promises hope for those suffering from these conditions, but also challenges our understanding of brain function and plasticity. The full genomic press interview with Dr. Katrina Lau, titled Links Between the Auditory and Limbic System, with a focus on the effects of unconventional novel treatment options such as psychedelics and cannabis extracts, was published on January 25th, 2024 in Psychedelics. It's freely available online, and they showed the link there so you can click and actually read the entire article. That's very cool.
It was really cool, and I enjoyed it because it wasn't an interview done by NOK Network. I'm sure you and Kim would have done it a lot justice. However, it wasn't an interview of a medical person into the field.
Yeah, it's cool that she's doing that research. It would be interesting to read that paper to see exactly what her studies are finding. So hopefully we'll get an opportunity to, surf that article at some point and see if we can maybe condense it down and explain it here on the show. Because she's using not just psychedelics, but cannabis as well. And I'd love to see if she's having success, because there are no current successful treatments for tinnitus. There's things that you can do to moderate it a little bit. But most people who suffer from it bad want to literally take their own life because it just drives them crazy. It's just always this ringing in the ears, right?
Oh man, I'm sure that's probably nerve-wracking. With the mushrooms that intensify it because your feelings intensify things, so wouldn't that kind of make it louder, like ah!
Or it may help do the opposite. It may do something in the brain that relaxes whatever is causing it. Because again, tinnitus, it could be a neurological misfiring, and that's because it's auditory to your brain, right? You don't hear things if your brain doesn't connect to that. So there's obviously something happening. So maybe the psychedelics create like a better connection to stop that misfiring that's happening. It's hard to say, but it'd be interesting to see the research on that.
I get it. I smell what you're stepping in, and man, it's great articles that Bufo has picked out for us. And I think that brings us to thank you for joining us here on Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network, and for tuning in to our video podcasts on NOK Network's Rebel and YouTube page, as well as our social media sites.
That's right. We hope you've enjoyed your update today on mainstream media coverage of psychedelic medicine advancements from around the globe.
Many thanks to our sponsors and to my joint host, Tarra Simpson, and to Bufo Alverius and the stories, and to you, our listeners, each week on Psychedelic Tuesday, and to Kim Cooper for just being beautiful, Kim Cooper. Let's hear from the dead ringer again from Kirkland Lake on our way out. Woo! Good night.
Bye. Peace.
Looking at myself, reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairyland of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty of